Terrifying and mysterious. Underwater discoveries that left archaeologists speechless. Welcome back to Ancient History. Today, I'm taking you to a place with no sunlight, no trees, and no birdsong. Just darkness, crushing pressure, and mysteries that no one can say for sure are real or imagined. That's right, I'm talking about the bottom of the ocean, a place where light cannot reach and where humans have only explored a tiny fraction. So tiny, in fact, that we've mapped more of the moon than we have of the deep sea. Have you ever wondered, what's down there in the deep? Whales? Coral reefs? Maybe a few playful squids? Not quite. The real answer is far more terrifying and mysterious than you might think. There are creatures so massive that even submarines have to steer clear. There are sea monsters that can send shivers down your spine with just a glance. And that's not all. Beneath the cold layers of sand at the ocean floor might lie buried ancient cities, untouched treasure troves, or even traces of civilizations that existed long before recorded history. Sounds exciting, doesn't it? So what are we waiting for? Let's dive deep, really deep, and uncover the spine-chilling secrets lurking at the bottom of the ocean, where even the world's best archaeologists and scientists are left scratching their heads in confusion. Now, let's begin with our first discovery. 72 sunken villages reveal clues that could rewrite human history. If someone told you that the ancestors of humankind once lived under the sea, would you believe them? It might sound like science fiction, but the truth is gradually being uncovered by science itself. This next story centers around an unbelievable discovery off the coast of Hainan Island, China, where deep beneath the ocean, archaeologists have found 72 ancient villages still resting quietly underwater, silently telling a tale no one has ever heard before. The story began decades ago with a chance scuba dive. A diver stumbled upon a strange stone structure on the ocean floor. No one could have guessed that this was just the beginning of an enormous historical treasure trove. As experts began their investigation, they quickly realized these weren't natural rock formations, but man-made structures, remains of houses, boundary walls, clearly defined roads, and building foundations. Using modern archaeological technology, researchers uncovered numerous valuable artifacts such as ancient pottery, fish hooks, daily tools, and even fishing nets. Strong evidence that a community of ancient people once lived and thrived here. But it doesn't stop there. Several graves were also discovered in the area, making it clear this was not just a temporary settlement. It was a true community where people lived, worked, and were laid to rest. This has led scientists to a baffling question. Why were they living under what is now the ocean floor? One theory suggests that, back then, sea levels were much lower than they are today, and the now submerged land was once an ideal place to settle. Another theory proposes that these people deliberately chose to live near the sea, to make the most of its rich marine resources, and perhaps to avoid wars or natural disasters happening on land. Whatever the reason, the fact that our ancestors once lived in places that are now underwater completely challenges the way we've understood human evolution. Until now, we've believed that Stone Age humans mostly hunted on land, lived in small tribes, and took shelter in caves. But this discovery reveals that they knew how to build homes, live together in villages, and even create burial grounds for their communities. Signs of a far more complex society than we ever imagined. What's even more fascinating is that when scientists analyzed the skeletons found near these villages, they discovered that the physical structure of these ancient people was nearly identical to that of modern humans. That means they weren't some unknown species, and certainly not aliens. They were our close ancestors, humans who dared to take on the challenge of living in the ocean's embrace to survive. In today's fast-paced world, it's hard to imagine that deep beneath the ocean lies a once thriving civilization, peaceful and sustainable in its own unique way. They had no electricity, no steel, no internet, but they had intelligence, adaptability, and the will to survive that rivals anything we have today. Isn't it strange? We live on the same planet, yet there are parts of our history buried right beneath our feet, just waiting to be discovered. And maybe in the future, we'll uncover even more lost villages like this. Who knows? Maybe the stories we once dismissed as myths or legends were real all along. And maybe you, or someone from a future generation, will be the one to follow those clues and write a new chapter in human history. Do you believe the past is still lying silently beneath the ocean, waiting to be told? Because I do. the 2,100-year-old skeleton that unveils a chilling truth about the Antikythera shipwreck. If you've ever thought the deep sea was only home to fish, seaweed, and a few rotting shipwrecks, this story might make you think again. Not long ago, researchers made a shocking discovery: a human skeleton, surprisingly well preserved, estimated to be 2,100 years old, lying deep beneath the Mediterranean Sea. The story begins in 2016, when a team of divers returned to explore the wreck of the Antikythera ship, often referred to as the Titanic of ancient Rome. This nearly 130 feet long vessel sank in the 1st century BCE, during the time when Julius Caesar was still in power. Archaeologists believe the ship went down after crashing into cliffs near the Greek island of Antikythera, the very name that now identifies this legendary wreck. Although the wreck was originally discovered back in 1900 at a depth of around 180 feet, what truly made the site world famous wasn't just the ship itself. It was the luxurious artifacts once belonging to the Roman elite, still resting on the seafloor. Among the recovered treasures, the one that stunned the world the most was a highly advanced mechanical device, often called the world's first computer. This ancient machine was used to track the movements of the sun, moon, planets, and even predict the dates of the Olympic Games. But the most shocking discovery wasn't a relic. It was a human body. On August 31st, 2016, the archaeological team uncovered the partial remains of an unfortunate victim from the shipwreck. Incredibly, the skeleton had been remarkably well preserved, despite having been submerged for more than 2 millennia. As you probably know, ocean currents and marine life usually destroy all traces of human remains over time. But in this case, the person may have been naturally protected, buried beneath nearly 20 inches of broken pottery and seabed sediment. The recovered bones include 2 arm bones, 2 femurs, several ribs, and part of a skull with teeth still intact. Experts say that if DNA can be extracted from these samples, it could become the first time in history that scientists successfully analyze DNA from a victim of an ancient shipwreck. But the process is far from easy. Back in 1976, many of the recovered materials from the site were treated with preservative chemicals, a common practice at the time when DNA technology was still decades away. No one back then thought to save uncontaminated samples for future analysis. Still, scientists haven't given up hope. Based on the size and shape of the femur bones, researchers suspect the remains belong to a male, possibly a crew member. But to confirm important details like gender, ancestry, and even facial features, they'll need official permission from the Greek government to proceed with deeper testing. Although many questions remain unanswered, the archaeological team gave this unknown man a symbolic name: Pamphilos, a word inscribed on a nearby drinking cup found close to the bones, which means friend of all in ancient Greek. A gentle, almost nostalgic name, don't you think? World War II shipwrecks resurface after 70 years beneath the sea. Have you ever imagined that just 30 miles off the coast of North Carolina, deep beneath the ocean's surface, lies a dramatic and tragic story from World War II? This isn't a myth, it's a real story, recently brought to light thanks to remarkable advancements in technology. 2 shipwrecks, hidden for more than 70 years and holding vivid fragments of history, were discovered by explorers using remote sensing equipment and modern sonar technology. The 2 vessels are U-576, a German U-boat that once struck fear across the Atlantic, and Bluefields, a Nicaraguan merchant ship. But what truly astonished me was how well preserved they are. Most notably, the conning tower of U-576 remains nearly intact, as if it had just left port, even after spending 7 decades underwater. Their existence makes them more than just shipwrecks. They are living relics, powerful reminders of a brutal chapter in history. Do you know how the tragic fate of these 2 ships began? It started on July 14, 1942, when a convoy, protected by the U.S. Coast Guard and Navy, departed from Virginia, heading toward Florida. What seemed like a routine journey was shattered the very next day by a sudden attack from U-576. On the night of July 15th, the German submarine launched torpedoes, striking several ships in the convoy, including Bluefields. Bluefields sank within minutes, slipping to the ocean floor. Fortunately, the entire crew survived, managing to escape in time. But U-576 wasn't so lucky. After inflicting heavy damage, the submarine came under fierce counterattack from U.S. Navy escort ships. The intense pursuit ended with U-576 being completely destroyed, taking all 45 crew members down with it. Today, the area on the seafloor where the two wrecks rest is not just a dive site, it's the final resting place for 45 sailors aboard U-576. These shipwrecks are not just historical artifacts, they are sacred war graves, protected under international law. Discovering and preserving these wrecks is a way for us to honor the sacrifices of those who now lie in the vast, silent ocean. When you look deep into the sea, you can feel the peaceful stillness surrounding these ships, a stark contrast to the explosions, chaos, and tension of one of World War II's fiercest naval battles. These wrecks serve as unforgettable reminders of the horrors of war and of the brave individuals who fought and died for freedom. You might wonder, why does the discovery of a sunken ship carry such weight? The answer is, every wreck tells a story, a memory, a piece of history that can never be replaced. When we respect and preserve these legacies, we ensure that the past stays alive, not just for us, but for generations to come. So when you look at these sunken vessels, don't just see wreckage. See the breath of history, the people and stories that gave them meaning. The ocean isn't just a calm blue expanse, it's a living museum, filled with unforgettable imprints of another era. And perhaps through discoveries like this, we'll gain a deeper understanding of the past, so we can value the present even more. Underwater cemetery reveals a chilling secret that moves the heart. If you think cemeteries only exist on land, think again. Far away in the vast ocean, there lies a cemetery submerged about 65 feet below the water's surface, cold, lonely, and almost completely unknown. Located off the coast of Fuencaliente in the southern part of La Palma Island, Spain, this cemetery was not created for tourism or attraction. It stands as a silent tribute to 40 monks who tragically lost their lives in a horrifying event back in 1570. The story begins with a missionary journey of these 40 Roman monks. They set sail carrying faith, a sacred mission, and hopes to spread the light of belief. But as their ship approached the French coast, they were attacked by a group of pirates. None survived. More cruelly, their bodies were thrown into the sea without prayers, without burial rites. For nearly 450 years, their resting place was forgotten, until descendants decided to place 40 stone crosses beneath the ocean, right where the monks were abandoned. Each cross marks a grave, a soul never laid to rest in peace. And so, an underwater cemetery was born, silent beneath the waves but screaming in the hearts of those who know its story. Beneath the cold water, the sight of 40 crosses standing in a row on the ocean floor sends chills down anyone's spine. Not from fear, but from sorrow. Amid the peaceful world of the sea, a sad chapter of people who lived for faith yet died in injustice suddenly appears. But you know what's the most heartbreaking? Very few people even know this cemetery exists. Except for professional divers or those who have heard the story by chance, this place remains hidden beneath the scenic beauty of the beach above. Tourists still swim and play just above these cold graves, unaware that beneath their feet lies a painful history buried in silence. That silence, that is what makes this story so haunting. The crosses seem to be waiting for someone to call their names, to remember them, or simply to cast a compassionate glance their way. Because dying once is losing the body, but dying twice is when no one remembers you. However, the underwater cemetery in La Palma is not the only one of its kind. Off the coast of Miami, Florida, there is a place called Neptune Memorial Reef, an underwater cemetery with a completely different vibe. No sorrow, no mourning. This is a peaceful resting place for those who love the sea and wish to merge with the ocean after their last breath. Neptune Memorial Reef was inspired by the legendary city of Atlantis, a place where souls are believed to live forever beneath the deep sea. Here, loved ones can choose resting spots, erect statues, place crosses, or even design memorials for the departed. It's like an underground city, no lights, no noise, but filled with sacredness. Two cemeteries, two stories, two completely different worlds. One is a wake-up call about crime and unjust sacrifice. The other is a peaceful painting of love for the sea. But whether on land or deep beneath the ocean, they all remind us that death is not necessarily the end, if only we remember them. Prehistoric airport at the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean. The deep ocean has long been a world full of mysteries, one that, despite all technological advances, humanity still cannot fully explore. Recently, a shocking discovery was made at the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean, stirring excitement among scientists and explorers alike. Researchers found a massive complex called the Prehistoric Airport, a strange structure with sophisticated design and large scale, something few could have imagined existing deep beneath the ocean floor. You might be wondering, how could a structure resembling an airport exist at a time when humans had no knowledge of airplanes or modern construction techniques? That question forces us to ask, is this the work of an ancient human civilization, or did some other hand, perhaps from an extraterrestrial civilization, help create it? And this is where the legendary story of Atlantis comes back into the spotlight. Atlantis, a mysterious civilization said to have possessed advanced technology and intelligence unmatched in the ancient world, vanished under mysterious circumstances. For centuries, Atlantis has been a puzzle for scientists. Was it just a myth, or did it really exist? Not only stories, but a number of strange relics discovered in recent archaeological digs seem to suggest that Atlantis might not be just a legend. Especially exquisitely crafted bronze artifacts far beyond the technological level of their time have convinced researchers that a truly advanced civilization once existed. The prehistoric airport found beneath the ocean is a prime example. Its massive scale and complex design go beyond the capabilities of typical ancient civilizations. So, was there extraterrestrial intervention, or is this simply a masterpiece of human ancestors' intelligence? Opinions about Atlantis in the scientific community are sharply divided. One side believes this civilization was entirely human, proving our ancestors' remarkable creativity and development. These extraordinary structures are evidence of humanity's progress far ahead of its time. The other side argues that Atlantis received help from extraterrestrial civilizations. According to them, the advanced technology Atlantis possessed could only have come from knowledge and skills shared by alien beings, whose science far surpasses ours today. Whatever theory you believe, it's undeniable that Atlantis remains one of humanity's greatest mysteries. The truth about its rise and disappearance still lacks a satisfying explanation, fueling fascination and search for answers. With continuous advances in science and technology, we may soon have the chance to fully uncover this secret and better understand the origins and development of human civilization. Every new discovery, whether strange creatures or mysterious structures like this prehistoric airport, brings us closer to solving questions once thought impossible to answer. What do you think about the existence of the prehistoric airport and the Atlantis civilization? Are they remnants of a star-born civilization or just part of the ocean's many mysteries? Take a moment to reflect and share your thoughts in the comments below this video. The real-life falcor, the mystery of the ghost fish at 8,200 feet, that stunned scientists. If you think you've seen all the weirdest creatures on Earth, just wait until you dive into the deep ocean, where only a tiny fraction has been explored by humans. Let's take a look at one of the most shocking discoveries in marine biology. A strange creature so unusual that even scientists aren't sure exactly what it is. This mysterious fish, ghostly white like a spirit, was recently filmed by NOAA's Okeanos Explorer submersible at a depth of 8,200 feet, right in the heart of the Mariana Trench, known as the final frontier of the ocean. At a depth where sunlight cannot reach and pressure can crush anything not well protected, a tiny creature about 4 inches long suddenly appeared on camera. It has a slender body, milky white skin, striking yellow eyes, and swims gently, as if drifting between two worlds. At first, experts thought it was a familiar species of ray-finned fish, but the more they observed, the clearer it became. This was a completely different creature. After analysis, researchers preliminarily identified this mysterious animal as a member of the Aphionidae family, commonly known as ghostfish. What's incredibly unbelievable is that this is the first time in history a living fish from this family has been discovered swimming freely in its natural habitat. Previously, we only knew about them from dead specimens or washed-up samples. After watching the video of the discovery, many netizens quickly associated this creature with falcor, the gentle white dragon from the fantasy film The Never-Ending Story. And indeed, with its smooth swimming style, pigment-free skin, and distant eyes, the ghostfish evokes a mysterious yet strangely familiar feeling. Others immediately recalled the ghost octopus, which was also discovered by the Okeanos submersible near Hawaii in 2016. That octopus was similarly white due to a lack of pigment, making it look like a ghost drifting through the deep sea. Both creatures give the impression that the ocean is a mysterious spirit world where unimaginable beings quietly exist. However, as of now, the exact identity of this fish remains undetermined. The lack of physical specimens, combined with the harsh environment, makes it extremely difficult to access and study. But this very challenge makes the discovery even more valuable, not only scientifically, but also as a reminder that we know very little about the planet we live on. The story of the ghost fish is not just a scientific breakthrough. It's a powerful reminder that countless secrets still hide beneath the dark waters, and humanity, with all its advanced technology, has only just scratched the surface of the ocean world. If a tiny 4-inch creature can cause such a stir, imagine how many bizarre creatures lurking in those deep trenches have yet to be revealed. And who knows, maybe someday you'll be the next to discover a new creature, just as white, just as strange, and just as astonishing to the world. Dear friends, that wraps up our exploration today about the ghost fish. The ocean truly is a mysterious and enchanting place, isn't it? What do you think about today's topic? Please share your thoughts by leaving a comment below. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel to keep up with the latest and most exciting videos. For now, goodbye, and see you next time.